Once upon a time, in a small town nestled between rolling hills and meandering streams, there lived a baker named Mr. Grump. Mr. Grump was known throughout the town for his delicious pastries and bread, but he was also known for his sour disposition. Mr. Grump's bakery was always filled with the tantalizing aroma of freshly baked goods, but instead of sharing the delightful scents with the townsfolk, Mr. Grump kept his shop tightly shut, believing that only those who paid for his treats deserved to enjoy the pleasant smells. One day, as Mr. Grump was kneading dough in his bakery, he heard a soft rustling outside. He peered through the window and saw a young girl named Sarah standing on the sidewalk, her nose twitching with delight at the smell of freshly baked bread. "Hey you!" Mr. Grump shouted, his voice sharp and unfriendly. "What do you think you're doing? You haven't paid for anything." Sarah looked up, her eyes wide with surprise. "I'm sorry, sir," she said meekly. "I was just admiring the wonderful smell of your bread. I didn't mean any harm." But Mr. Grump was not appeased. "Admiring, eh?" he snarled. "Well, admiration won't put food on the table. If you want to enjoy my bread, you'll have to pay for it like everyone else." With that, he slammed the window shut and returned to his work, leaving Sarah feeling dejected and unwelcome. As Sarah walked away from the bakery, she couldn't shake the feeling of disappointment. She loved the smell of freshly baked bread, but she couldn't afford to buy any from Mr. Grump's shop. She wished there was a way she could enjoy the wonderful scents without having to pay for them. That night, as Sarah lay in bed, she heard a soft whispering outside her window. Curious, she got out of bed and peered outside. To her amazement, she saw a grove of trees swaying gently in the moonlight, their branches filled with glowing orbs of light. Intrigued, Sarah stepped outside and followed the whispering sound into the woods. As she walked deeper into the forest, she felt a sense of peace and wonder wash over her. The trees seemed to be alive with magic, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of wildflowers and pine. Sarah wandered through the whispering woods until she came to a clearing bathed in moonlight. In the center of the clearing stood a majestic oak tree, its branches reaching up toward the sky. As Sarah approached the tree, she heard a soft voice coming from its ancient trunk. "Welcome, Sarah," the voice whispered. "I have been waiting for you." Sarah looked around in surprise, but she saw no one. "Who's there?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I am the spirit of the whispering woods," the voice replied. "I have watched you from afar, and I know of your love for the smell of fresh bread." Sarah nodded, feeling a sense of wonder at the magical encounter. "Yes, I do love the smell of bread," she admitted, "but I can't afford to buy any from the bakery in town." The spirit of the woods nodded sympathetically. "I understand, Sarah. That is why I have brought you here. In the whispering woods, you may enjoy the scents of the forest without fear of judgment or payment." Overwhelmed with gratitude, Sarah thanked the spirit of the woods and promised to return often to bask in the magical scents of the forest. From that day on, Sarah visited the whispering woods whenever she needed comfort or solace. She would sit beneath the oak tree and listen to the soft whispers of the wind, feeling at peace with herself and the world. Meanwhile, back in town, Mr. Grump's bakery began to suffer. Without the pleasant smells of his pastries and bread wafting through the streets, fewer and fewer customers came to buy his goods. Mr. Grump grew even grumpier, blaming everyone but himself for his dwindling business. One day, as Mr. Grump was grumbling to himself in his empty bakery, he heard a soft tapping on the window. He looked up and saw Sarah standing outside, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "Hello, Mr. Grump," Sarah called cheerfully. "I thought you might like to enjoy the wonderful smells of the whispering woods. They're free for everyone to enjoy, you know." Mr. Grump scowled at Sarah, but deep down, he felt a twinge of envy. He realized that he had been too focused on profit and too possessive of his bakery smells. He had forgotten the simple joys of life, like the sound of laughter and the scent of fresh air. With a sigh, Mr. Grump closed his bakery for the day and followed Sarah into the whispering woods. As he walked among the trees, he felt a sense of peace wash over him, and for the first time in a long while, he found himself smiling. From that day on, Mr. Grump's bakery remained open to all who wished to enjoy the delightful smells of his pastries and bread. He became known as the friendliest baker in town, and his business flourished once again. As for Sarah, she continued to visit the Whispering Woods whenever she needed a break from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. She knew that in the magical forest, she would always find peace, happiness, and the sweet scent of adventure. And so, the tale of Sarah and the Whispering Woods became a cherished story in the town, reminding everyone that sometimes the best things in life are free for all to enjoy. As the days turned into weeks, Sarah's visits to the Whispering Woods became a regular part of her routine. She would spend hours wandering through the forest, listening to the soft whispers of the trees and breathing in the sweet scent of the wildflowers. One day, as Sarah was exploring a new part of the forest, she stumbled upon a hidden clearing filled with colorful flowers and shimmering butterflies. She gasped in awe at the beauty of the scene before her. "Wow!" Sarah whispered to herself, her eyes sparkling with wonder. "I never knew such a magical place existed in the woods." As she gazed around the clearing, Sarah noticed a small, sparkling pool at the center. Curious, she approached the pool and peered into its crystal clear waters. To her amazement, Sarah saw her reflection shimmering back at her, surrounded by a soft, golden light. She reached out to touch the water, and as her fingertips grazed the surface, she felt a warm, tingling sensation coursing through her body. Suddenly, the surface of the pool began to ripple, and a figure emerged from the water. It was a beautiful nymph, with long, flowing hair and eyes that sparkled like diamonds. "Greetings, Sarah," the nymph said, her voice as melodious as the wind through the trees. "I am Luna, guardian of the enchanted pool. What brings you to this sacred place?" Sarah's heart raced with excitement as she looked upon the mystical being before her. I'm not sure," she stammered. "I was just exploring the forest and stumbled upon this clearing. It's so beautiful." Luna smiled warmly at Sarah. "Indeed it is, dear Sarah," she said, "but you did not come here by chance. The Whispering Woods have brought you to me for a reason." Sarah's eyes widened with curiosity. "A reason?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes," Luna replied. "You possess a kind and pure heart, Sarah. You have shown compassion and understanding to those around you, and the forest has sensed your goodness." Sarah felt a warm glow spreading through her chest as she listened to Luna's words. She had always tried to be kind and caring to others, but she had never imagined that her actions could have such a profound impact on the world around her. What do you mean?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling with excitement. Luna reached out and gently took Sarah's hand. "The Whispering Woods have chosen you, Sarah," she said. "They have seen the kindness in your heart, and they wish for you to become their guardian." Sarah's heart skipped a beat at Luna's words. "Me, a guardian?" she exclaimed, her eyes wide with astonishment. "Yes," Luna replied. "The Whispering Woods need someone to watch over them, to protect them from harm and ensure that their magic remains alive for generations to come. And you, Sarah, are the perfect person for the job." Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes as she looked into Luna's radiant face. She had never felt so honored or so humbled in her life. To be chosen as the guardian of the Whispering Woods was a responsibility she never could have imagined, but it was one she knew she had to accept. I accept," Sarah said, her voice trembling with emotion. "I will do everything in my power to protect the Whispering Woods and ensure that their magic lives on for eternity." Luna smiled and nodded, her eyes shining with pride. "Then it is settled," she said. "Welcome, Sarah, guardian of the Whispering Woods." With that, Luna disappeared back into the pool, leaving Sarah alone in the clearing. But she was no longer afraid or uncertain. She felt a newfound sense of purpose and determination coursing through her veins. From that day on, Sarah devoted herself to her new role as guardian of the Whispering Woods. She spent her days exploring every corner of the forest, learning its secrets and tending to its needs. she became a beloved figure in the town, known for her kindness and her connection to the magical world beyond. And as the years passed, Sarah's legend grew, inspiring generations of children to seek out the wonders of the Whispering Woods and to cherish the magic that surrounded them. For Sarah, the journey was just beginning, but she knew that as long as she had the Whispering Woods by her side, she would never be alone. And so, the tale of Sarah in the Whispering Woods continued to captivate the hearts and imaginations of all who heard it, reminding them of the power of kindness, the beauty of nature, and the magic that lies within us all. Thank you for taking the time to watch and listen. Your support means the world to me. Creating content is a labor of love, and knowing that it resonates with you makes it all worthwhile. Every view, every listen, every moment you spend engaging with my work is deeply appreciated.